Hey, you guys, and welcome back to another video. I literally just got done recording my video on Philip Anthony Mitchell and the controversial sermon. And then he just posted a statement regarding the sermon. So if you haven't watched that video, go ahead and watch it. I personally was not offended by what he said, but he must have received so much backlash that this is this is what he felt to say. So we're going to review this statement and review some of the comments and just kind of talk about it a little bit, and then we're going to be done with this topic. So let's read this together. In light of the statements I made during our 8 a.m. gathering on Sunday, April 13th, I want to take a moment to pause and acknowledge the impact of what was said. While not my intention, I recognize I caused harm, and for that, I sincerely apologize. I do feel like he gives in to the mob sometimes, and it's really frustrating because this is exactly he's doing exactly what he preached against, which is, oh, I'm gonna cut back a little bit on what people are intolerant to accountability. They're intolerant to truth. And when you apologize for these things, it's like, ugh, what you said wasn't wrong, and I'm sure he went and sought counsel for some other biblical leaders, but taking accountability is so important for your actions and respecting authority. But he does this quite frequently, though. This is not the first time he's apologized for saying something. Um, yeah. I believe the passage that I preached on presents us with an opportunity to examine our relationship with government and authoritative figures who we may personally oppose yet have to comply with. Again, that is reality. It does give you an opportunity to do that. And he wasn't wrong. Without a doubt, I understand the framing that I used about Black children and the relationship with the police was and is harmful. I know that Black people have been by the police when being both compliant and non-compliant. I sought to illustrate this tension from my own lived experience via a personal testimony. And this is when I reviewed his video, I said this. He's trying to explain to you that he wasn't doing anything in that moment when the police officer pushed him up against the wall. And he had a decision to make. But when you are so emotional and so incapable of pulling yourself out of a situation and going, what's the right thing to do here? People were the fact that people were unable to see this is actually scary. They're so blinded by their own emotion. And this is the media has done a very good job of making this a trigger topic. When you talk about police officers and Black people are always right. Police officers are always wrong. You can never state nuance. He attempted to provide this nuance and people still didn't get it. I acknowledge that my framing of that encounter was not helpful and should have been done differently and with more nuance. Baby, you could have nuanced this till the cows came home and they would have still been upset, because the bottom line is that we have been trained. There are certain topics that Black people have been trained to become triggered by. Police officers, Democrats. As soon as the Democrats say the conservatives are we have been trained to we're like Pavlov's dogs. They've been trained to Republicans. It's actually very scary. And I'm someone who I don't really vote. I don't really care about, honestly, I'm not really I'm just not that political. My ministry is not in politics. My ministry is actually on the ground floor. But I've noticed that they can, at the drop of a hat, they can get Black people to behave in a certain way by ringing these bells. One of them is police officers. And so I think what he's going to start to realize is that he's going to be doing a lot of apologizing because people are incapable of not being offended by some of these topics. I would also like to note that the clips of my comments from that gathering have been misconstrued to both aid agendas. I do not seek to align myself and discredit my heart and my passion for seeing all people saved and walk uprightly for God. This is a good thing, because one thing that is happening is that people are putting Philip Anthony Mitchell in a camp that he's not in. So someone was like, he's MAGA, he's Trump because of this. And I don't think I've ever heard him talk about his political views, but he's correct. There is a group of white conservatives on the internet who are just well, if Black people would just comply, then if they would just follow authority, then they would never be in these instances with racist white cops. And that's just simply ridiculous. That's not the way the world works. So I appreciate him saying this because he's telling the truth, which is, yes, people are using my words to shove into this agenda that I don't agree with. And that agenda is, well, Black people are just these ignorant, violent people who deserve everything that they get because they don't comply with. But yes, there's a faction of the internet who believes this. You guys, let's be for real. And like let's be honest, there is a faction of conservative people who love this sermon because it feeds their hatred and their disdain for Black people. So he's not wrong for saying that. I have a responsibility to my local congregation and digital disciples and all the people watching me to see an example of what true discipleship of Christ looks like. That includes acknowledging when you have made a misstep or been wrong. Due to the size of my platform, I'm learning that my words carry more weight and influence that even I can sometimes fathom or acknowledge. I will be more aware and cognizant of that moving forward. Again, I sincerely apologize for any hurt that I've caused. I have prayed for all those affected. Let's see what the comments are saying. Love your heart for the Father. We're here with you, big dog. Though I wasn't one of those negatively affected by your statements because I understood your heart and the matter and the bigger picture of who you were communicating. I pray this apology is received by those that were offended by your statements. But here's the thing: is I love that he said, "I understood your heart and the matter," because this is what it comes down to. People are willfully misunderstanding him because it is it's becoming like hip and cool to figure out what you can dissect and what you can find about a pastor that is wrong. It was sometimes we need to not be quick to act as a pastor leader of faith. I see why whatever that's I can't there's not enough grammar there. Thank you for saying what you said because it was needed. As a parent, I showed my children respect. And when my son got pulled over, he immediately did what was taught and he was in the wrong because of the level of his respect. Um, blah, blah, blah. The cop actually gave him a warning and let him go. He was shook how respectful our son was. Now we know this will not always be the case, but it's better to teach respect and have more of a chance to live to see another day than not. And that's true. And like, and I said this in my original video. We pretend like our children are not unruly, and they are. A lot of them are disrespectful. They absolutely are. Man, why you pulling me over, man? Why you do that? Yes. Sorry. I hate to be the bearer of the bad news. I hate to say it. I know because I work with your children. I work with a lot of your children. I used to. And they're rude and disrespectful and got hot tongues and they're spicy. And they don't know. I used to tell my kids, you need to learn the art of shut up. Listen, I'm going to be wrong sometimes, but learn the art of shut up. That saves your life. Learn the art of shut up. I wasn't offended. The truth can be sharp sometimes. The word will strike those who oppose it, but yet and still I understand your position. But to those who don't understand, when it's all said and done, God himself is not apologizing. Take it or leave it. God bless. Please do not water down your message because of this. The same energy won't be reciprocated, but God is glorified through your humility, bro. You serve to the audience of one. God bless you for doing this, and we're praying for your ministry. We rock with you, man. Words by Ezekiel. Period. Those of us who have an ear for righteousness knew and understood the heart behind the message. Exactly. The sad reality is we live in a world where it's been normalized to make holistic judgments about people's character, experience, and beliefs based upon a single short clip. Although we should admire his humility in this post, if you understood his statements in relation to the context of the text he was preaching, though, then you can clearly see the black backlash was based on a misconstrued narrative, an attempt to discredit a faithful gospel preacher. Yep. Philip Anthony Mitchell, you are a true hero of the faith. I totally understand what you said. It was biblical. Yes, it was. I understand how it could be taken by others. Unfortunately, there are abuses from other authorities that have hurt so many. How you are handling this moment demonstrates the heart of a pastor. Okay, we'll just read a couple of more. happy you felt conviction to apologize and obediently did so. There was no ill will in your statement, but just could have been articulated better. I hope that many see that this humility is being shown in something we must all do, especially teachers dealing with believers coming from different walks of life, testimonies, and metacognitions. It's important to take accountability when something we said was not taken the right way, because the ultimate goal is to reveal the gospel and show how to move in a sinful world. To my young Black brothers, yes, comply, but do not bow down. Get put in that furnace knowing God was with you. Yeah, do not bow down, get put in that hot furnace of hell because you decided that you didn't have to, you wanted to buck up against authority who had a gun. That's so stupid. It's so foolish. Like, what are you doing? This is what I'm talking about. When you're putting do not bow down, you're not bowing down, you're simply saving your life. It's very simple. I wasn't offended by the sermon at all. It's a sign of a heart after God. However, there are always people who find something to complain about. The Bible does correct people, and that correction can sometimes be harsh. Conviction is not fun. I fully support your last sermon. We need to move beyond our feelings and emotions and dive into the word so we can hear the truth. This person says, this apology gives the insatiable, angry mob the inch they want to, in turn, take endless miles. Never feed the beast. It's never enough. It's never full. You said zero wrong, the end. People hate the truth, and that's what you spoke. The clips used to cause deception, misconstrue. Yeah, I actually think he tried to do a really good job of like acknowledging the fact that not that both sides. But you see, as I said before, Black people have been taught that anytime you talk about police officers and Black people, you can never talk about the fact that yes, there are people who are in fact committing crimes. You cannot say that though. That's not okay. So it creates an environment where acknowledging your missteps and acknowledging when you're wrong is impossible, because that makes you a conservative or a Trumper or a MAGA. I can't. I'm like, this is biblical Christianity here. Like, what in the heck? Um, anyway, that's that, you guys. He apologized, which I actually was shocked that I didn't see it earlier. But that's who he is, and so there's that. Anyway, that's it for today's video. Don't forget to like, share, comment, and subscribe, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye.